When working with prompts, you should also know that you can regenerate responses and edit prompts. We saw the regenerate feature already when switching to a different chat whilst the output was created. Then the generation of the output was cancelled, and with regenerate, the output generation started again. In this case, we have a working output already, but let's say that the answers ChatGPT provided do not satisfy you. By clicking regenerate response here, ChatGPT regenerates the last response again. And with this little menu here, you can switch between the previous and the last output. Both are almost equal, but this should just demonstrate that in case you're not totally satisfied with a solution, you don't have to rewrite your prompt. You can also try to regenerate the response and see if the output you get then better fits your requirements. This switching logic can also be used when editing prompt, because if you go back to the second prompt, for example, and press this edit icon, and here you could state that you need the recipe without the ingredients for whatever reason, then you can save and submit this edited prompt. And now the initial prompt and the initial output is still displayed, but below that we again get this selection menu. Here in the second tab, so to say, we now get the edited prompt and the edited output. And if we switch back to the previous tab or page, we still have the other conversation that we had with ChatGPT. Now this can become a bit cumbersome if you start editing and regenerating all the time, but this is a feature which is nice to have for some situations. It is also important to understand that ChatGPT is only context aware for the chat that is displayed here in one line. Meaning it has the context for this entire conversation and for that conversation. So if you would, for example, ask something totally different like, what is the capital of Germany? It states Berlin. And if I ask, tell me 3 things I can do there, then it has the context to Berlin. But if I now switch back to the other tab, or whatever you want to call this, and now ask, tell me, what did I ask? I forgot it, to be honest. It was, let's copy it. So let's go back. So tell me 3 things I can do there. Then it assumes that we talk about Vienna, Austria, but it doesn't understand that we refer to Berlin. Because as mentioned, ChatGPT is only context aware for the currently displayed chat, not for other sub-chats that you might have inside this chat. 2 more things about prompts. If you accidentally send a prompt by accidentally hitting enter, for example, or if you realize after sending the prompt that you actually want to edit the prompt, for example, then you can stop the generation of the response. If we have the following prompt, give me a list of all teams that participated in the Soccer World Championships in 2014. If I send this, I can press stop generating down here. This stops generating the output, obviously, and now I can simply edit the previous prompt and turn this into the European World Championships 2016, for example. Now by pressing save and submit, a new tab, as we called it, will again be opened when editing the prompt, but with that logic, you can save some time by not creating unrequired or unintended output. Talking about accidentally sending prompts, if you want to write a prompt containing paragraphs, for example, I need the following data, and now after the colon you want to have a new paragraph. If you hit Command Enter or Enter, this will send the prompt. But if you press Shift Enter, this will add a paragraph, and then you can continue writing your prompt in a new line. So these are some more prompt basics and some nice things to know. Now we'll have a closer look at ChatGPT's output. Because ChatGPT provides amazing output most of the time, but sometimes you should have a closer look. Throughout this course and when working with ChatGPT, you will have the situation from time to time that the output generated by ChatGPT is beyond its token limit, so it simply can't generate the entire output and the output generation will just stop. An example would be this text here that I prepared, or that ChatGPT prepared to be more precise. If I tell ChatGPT to translate this text to German, French, and Spanish, for example, then ChatGPT starts with the translation, but at this point here, the output generation stops. As mentioned, this is due to the token limit that limits the length of the output that a ChatGPT response can have. You cannot change this limit, but you can just continue the output at the position where it stopped in the next output. You only have to type continue, and now ChatGPT will continue exactly at the position where it stopped the output generation in the last response it provided. So here this happens again, so we can again type continue. And so we get the full translation of this text into the 3 languages. So no matter if you're working with text or with code or whatever in ChatGPT, this always works, so keep this in mind for later modules and for your own projects. In the next lectures, I want to have a look at some of the additional features GPT-4 ships with. So free users can of course watch these videos to get an idea of these features, plus users should switch to the GPT-4 model now. The GPT models have a cut-off date regarding the data the models were trained with. This also applies to GPT-4, as we learned. However, in GPT-4, we also have internet access, so the browsing feature integrated. This means with GPT-4, we are able to retrieve up-to-date information from the internet. One example to demonstrate this to you is this article here on our website, acadamind.com. This is our Web Development Roadmap 2024, and now I want ChatGPT to access this article and to give me a summary of it. For this, I add a quick instruction and add the link to my message box. As GPT-4 has this web access, it now takes a few seconds until the article is generated. But then ChatGPT provides this quick summary and additionally, again, also the link to the full article. Now let's have a quick look at what happens if I take this same prompt, create a new chat and switch to the default model. So we'll add this same prompt. Now ChatGPT states that it can't access external content directly. That's the difference between GPT-4 and GPT 3.5. GPT 3.5 is limited to the data it was trained with. GPT-4 has these advanced capabilities by accessing the internet. I also want to give you another example now to check whether ChatGPT really accesses up-to-date information. For this, we want to have the current standings of the 2024 Formula One World Championship. Now let's see if ChatGPT can also find this information for us. And it comes up with an answer, also describing the first races of the season. But as it's written down here, ChatGPT can make mistakes. So let's double check whether these standings here are the correct ones. So we remember Verstappen 51, Perez 46 and Leclerc 46. And now here I'm on the official Formula One website and apparently something is not totally correct here. we see that Leclerc actually is ahead of Perez with 47 points. So the question is, where does ChatGPT get the information from? So we'll state that this is not correct. What is your source for the Drivers' World Championship? So we checked the Formula 1 page, so obviously that's not the source it took here. But if we check out the second link, Sporting News, this is where the problem comes from, because here we have the standings that ChatGPT provided for us. So in this case, ChatGPT didn't have the correct or most up-to-date source. Therefore, this browsing feature is really nice, but as mentioned, double check your information, especially if it's really important information that you need for a specific project, for example.